So there's been a lot of new stuff revealed for Spider-Man 2, and even I missed some stuff in my breakdown video from yesterday. So today's video, we're going to be going over people's impressions who have played the game, and as well point out some stuff everyone may not know or just things you may have missed, because there's things I definitely missed. Really quick before we get into the video, please go consider checking out my Spider-Man Remastered playthrough. Part 7 just dropped earlier today. Make sure to go check that out, show that some love. We are playing Spider-Man Remastered to get ready for Spider-Man 2. As soon as we're done with Spider-Man Remastered, we're gonna do Miles Morales. But let's get into the video. Damn, this one might be long. So the people I mainly watched were Evan, Caboose, and a couple others, but mainly Evan and Caboose just for reference as far as the impressions go. So first, let's go over the cons, because they are pretty minuscule for the most part. There don't seem to be many cons from a lot of people who have played the game so far. So the first couple of cons actually have to do with the traversal. The first major con, and keep in mind again, these cons aren't really anything huge or detrimental. These are nitpicks at best in my opinion, but I do agree with them at the same time. So the first con is that, okay, so you know how in Miles Morales, that game, they introduced the trick system. You hold square and you press the left stick in any direction you want to and can do a bunch of different variations of tricks, right? That shit is pretty much the same for Miles, like the exact same one-to-one from his game. But on the other hand, a pro for that is there's the same thing for Peter, which is pretty much new, but you know, we're gonna get into that later. The second con is that people really wanted a little more to the swinging. They want like more physics involved, to do more free stuff while swinging, and you know, have a little more control of the character and what specifically they're doing during swinging. Sad to say, the swinging as far as physics go are pretty much the same, but you know, like there's a bunch of new mechanics and stuff, so that's kind of a pro for that. Like for example though, a lot of people wanted loop-de-loops, like that one scene in Spider-Man 3 on his way to the final battle, sort of like that, or they wanted to be able to, you know, like swing and run on the ground, like things of that nature, but those are both not possible or not in the game, which definitely does suck as far as traversal goes. Wait, hold on, never mind. Middle of me making this video, I found this tweet and we're gonna go over it. So one of the community managers for Insomniac quote tweeted a fan, and he said, "You can loop de loop while diving and executing a swing, just don't let go. And you can also do a corner tether to make immediate quick turns for a hard right or left." Then someone replied asking, "Can we do something like this?" I'll put the clip in the background. It's from TASM 2. It's that scene of Andrew doing that corner swing in that beginning scene. And then he replied with yes. So that's actually pretty sick. I can't wait to try that out in the game. But also really quick, while we are on this topic, this is not a negative, but I might as well mention it now. Jake Baldino did say that he was experimenting and went to the top of the Empire State Building and confirmed basically you can do a loop-de-loop around the top and keep going. So basically you can loop-de-loop vertically and horizontally. That is fucking sick. What the fuck? But the last negative I heard was actually from Jake Baldino. He said is that sometimes there's so much going on, it's hard to keep up during combat, but for some that can be a pro, so that really just depends on who you are as like a player. But as far as negatives, that seems to be pretty much it. It's just the physics are the same for the most part. The Miles trick system is pretty much the exact same one-to-one from his game. So yeah, let's get into the details you might not have known, and as well a mix of people's impressions. We will kind of just categorize them into sections. So we're gonna go over like the traversal right now, then probably the combat, then story, open world. Okay, so traversal. The first thing I wanted to mention, the speed you are capable of going in Spider-Man 2 like is not noticeable from the gameplay we've seen so far. And by the way, the gameplay that is in the background and that everyone's using for their videos right now, the new one, that's just like footage provided by PlayStation to the creators and stuff. But about that gameplay, right, people like Even and a couple others have said you can go like double the speed of the first couple games, and one other person, I forgot who said it, but they said you can go like 3 times as fast as the previous games apparently. So that is great to hear. Like the speed is a lot faster than the previous games. And with that as well, while we're on the topic of going fast and momentum, if you gain enough momentum and let's just say you're swinging fast and you're going from Manhattan to Brooklyn or Queens, part of New York, and you fall in the water, you're not going to fall in the water like normal in the previous games. You can literally slide on the water or across the water, which actually sounds insane as fuck. Obviously, you know, like you're going to lose momentum eventually and then you will fall like normal in the water, but if you gain enough speed, you can slide across the water water, that is like just so sick. I'm super excited for little things like that. Like that's really cool. Again, speaking of momentum, let's talk about the web wings. So a lot of people were excited for the web wings, and then there's like another part of the fan base that said like, you know, they weren't too concerned for it because they'd rather swing. That's kind of the whole point of like a Spider-Man game. And as of right now, I'm on that side of like I'd rather swing. But everyone, even the people like me who said, you know, they'd rather swing, once they played the game and tried the web wings out, like even those people have said the web wings are a game changer essentially, and that they actually like using them, and sometimes they even use them as often as web swinging, but you know, again, not as often as web swinging, but sometimes, you know. But the wingsuit or the web wings are fluid, and you can travel fast around the map, especially if you want to get from like Manhattan across the water to Queens or Brooklyn. They're really great for that, and the wind tunnels obviously make you go even faster, but they're only in specific areas, and like they aren't like everywhere. You got to kind of find them and stuff like that. Even did also compare the web wings to gliding in the Batman Arkham games and said it's a lot better than that, which is definitely interesting. He did also say that the skill gap for Spider-Man 2 is high as far as like, you know, mastering everything, but it's, you know, like welcoming for new players too, which is definitely a good thing. I like that. It's like, you know, best of both worlds. Speaking of best of both worlds, it has been confirmed there is fall damage in the game, but it can be turned on and off, which I think is a massive W, because like some people want that. I would like to try it out and see if I want to use it or not. I'm not sure if it's something like I definitely want to use, so you know, I'll obviously see next month when I play the game, but I definitely think that was a good idea to incorporate that in Spider-Man 2. I almost forgot, even also did say that Peter has this one crazy swing trick where this man apparently dead ass as shit you not pulls out a fucking Rubik's Cube out of all things and solves that bitch before he goes back into the next swing. Bro, what? Imagine you see Spider-Man swinging and this motherfucker pulls out a fucking Rubik's Cube and just casually solves that bitch and then just goes back to swinging. Like, this man is gonna be straight flexing on everyone in this game, but I like it. So now let's move on to combat. The first thing I really wanted to go over and highlight is the boss fights, because this was my biggest concern in the previous games, and I know this was a concern for a lot of other people as well, but the boss fights in the game have seemingly improved by like tenfold. We have gotten a look at the lizard boss fight, and the first noticeable thing is that we now have a health bar for the villain to, you know, see how much progress we have in said boss fight, which I think is great. Obviously, you know, it takes space up on the screen, but like, who cares? It's a video game. That's just the nature of it, but I'm glad they included this. I don't know why it wasn't in the first couple of games. I'm thinking maybe it was because of that, you know, it takes up space on the screen, but who knows? I don't know. But as you may have known, they introduced a parry system. Not gonna lie, I still don't exactly understand or know what it is, because I don't think I've played a video game with a parry system that I can think of, but it's basically like there's a certain attacks you just can't regular press dodge for, you have to parry, and it seems to be like a counter thing more than a dodge, from my understanding. I don't know. If I got that wrong, correct me in the comments. But yeah, in the boss fights, it will be basically imperative to use like the parry, or like you're just gonna get fucked up. So there's no more like, you know, mashing square and like dodge. Like, you gotta like regular dodge or parry, counter, whatever, use gadgets, whatever else to defeat the bosses in this game. Like, you're gonna have to use everything at your disposal, and the parry system will make the fight more engaging, and overall the boss fights in this game seem to make you pay attention a lot more. Now on to the actual like combat and stuff. Apparently the combat section of the game has basically been completely overhauled, whatever the word is, or like redone for the most part. A lot of people seem to have said there's like a major learning curve for the combat, and they also completely got rid of the gadget wheel, so the gadgets are more like quick rapid fire. Hold R1, tap a face button. If you don't know what a face button is, that's X, square, circle, triangle. Any of those are face buttons. So yeah, that's something definitely new to get used to. No more gadget wheel, just quick fire gadgets. It's also been said as well that everyone who was playing the game early, they were playing on amazing difficulty, and some people were struggling, which is kind of crazy, but also it makes sense because, you know, new learning curve, and you know, the overhaul of the combat, and as well like the new attacks that can't be dodged, they have to use the new parry system you have to use or whatever. So I guess I'm not surprised, to be honest, that some people were struggling. Oh, this is super cool. So the special moves are customizable. Let me explain. So let's say you're using the symbiote, but you want to use the iron arms, you can do that. Or let's say you want to rock the advanced suit, but you want the symbiote tendril attacks, you can do that. That's really sick. But with that, this means like suit powers are gone, which, I mean, I'm fine with that. I don't mind it. It makes sense because, you know, it's a balance thing for combat, and some of the suit powers are kind of OP in the first couple of games. Also, there's a rage mode for the symbiote, which, oh my god, That shit looks fucking insane. It reminds me of like the Spider-Man 3 game, Rage Mode. There was a Rage Mode in that game for those who don't remember. But this game, the attacks are more brutal. The suit design even changes when you turn the Rage Mode on. Here's a screenshot to look at the design, and this shit looks menacing. Like the design just looks more Venom-like, which is definitely interesting. Another thing, and this is a minuscule thing, but super cool detail I noticed, is they changed the animation for when you take a weapon from an enemy and throw it back at them. That's pretty cool. Last thing I want to mention for the combat is that Jake Baldino said there is a noticeable suit damage during fights. It will go away after a while, but there is suit damage during fights, which is a very cool detail to have. Now let's talk about the open world, and first thing I want to mention is something I talked about in yesterday's video. To be specific, yesterday's Spider-Man 2 breakdown video, I questioned whether or not we can see the other hero in the open world. So let's say you're playing as Peter swinging around. I was wondering, can you go and see like Miles in the open world doing whatever he may be doing? And it's been confirmed that you can. So let's say you see a crime pop up, you go to it, sometimes you will literally see Miles is already there trying to stop the crime. That is so fucking crazy. That is sick. That is so dope. And you know, vice versa, if you're playing Miles, you can see Peter doing the same. And with that, the city is a lot more dense. It's more alive. There's more cars, there's more people. The city literally just feels more alive than the previous games, which is definitely a great thing to hear. Real quick, this doesn't have to specifically do with the open world, but essentially ray tracing is always on, whether you're on fidelity or performance mode. I think the only real difference between the two is FPS, whether or not you want 30 or 60, and you know, whether or not you want more detail or just a teeny bit less detail. As well, the fast travel system, you can literally fast travel anywhere in the map. So this time around, you do not need to fast travel to a specific icon. You can just fast travel anywhere. There is also like traversal challenges. So like there's challenges where like you can glide across the city. This reminds me of those web swinging races from Ultimate Spider-Man game. If you know, you know. Really cool thing, Robbie will be in the game, and like I speculated again in yesterday's video, we will be taking photos for the Daily Bugle for Robbie, which is definitely cool. Bro, honestly, like there's no way Eddie is not in the game, but you know, we'll see. And this ties into the personal story of Peter, because you know, he's struggling to pay bills for his aunt's house, so he needs extra cash. Why not go back to the Bugle taking photos? I knew this was coming. I talked about this before a couple of times, and you know, intertwined it with why I think Eddie's gonna be Venom and why he's probably more than likely in the game. But let's not reopen up that can of worms and move on. Now let's go over the story. So I guess if you don't want to know anything, you can click off. Thanks for watching. Although there aren't any spoilers really, like there aren't any major spoilers, even minor spoilers, honestly, in my opinion at least. There's only one, but it's really not even a spoiler. Like I feel like it was obviously gonna happen, you know, and it has to do with Martin Lee. But yeah, last chance, click off. Thanks for watching. Love you. All right, they should be gone by now. So the story stuff, we got a couple of cutscenes. One is with Craven and Symbiote Spider-Man. The other is with Miles and his mom. I'll play the one with Miles first.
It's just a lot right now. So much to take care of in the city. Super stressed about my college essay. Pete's busy doing other stuff. And Lee's still out there. Doesn't that bother you?
So yeah, he's just really concerned with his college essay, and as well his father's killer is on the loose, aka Martin Lee, Mr. Negative. That's the minor spoiler. That's not really a spoiler. That was kind of obviously gonna happen. But yeah, I'm really excited to see how this specific story with Miles and Lee pans out, because it's interesting how like we have Peter and the symbiote, and the symbiote is making him turn to the dark side. But we are also gonna see, you know, whether or not Mr. Negative being on the run makes Miles turn to the dark side as well. And obviously, you know, whether or not they both overcome that dark path that's very tempting to both of our heroes. But now the Craven scene, holy fuck. So okay, I couldn't get like the full scene because people were just talking over it or whatever, but here's like a cut up version of it. I'll play it right now.
Here to pick up a serum order for a Dr. Connors?
Let's see if you have the strength to finish what you started.
I'm just here to save my friend. We'll finish finish this later.
Holy fucking balls, bro. Shit, bro. That scene was insane. How like eerie it was, and like just the chills that shit sent down my spine, man. What the fuck? Okay, so it sounds like Kraven stole the serum to cure Dr. Connors from his lizard problem. So Kraven isn't even hunting to like stop him from, you know, lizarding. He's doing it for the pure satisfaction of it, which that's fine, makes sense for his character, you know. But when Kraven kicks that bell and Peter and the symbiote are reacting, oh my god, that shit is crazy. It reminds me of that scene from the Alien costume saga from the 90s show. Wow, that was a lot of information to take in. Honestly, I'm shocked. I'm shocked. I'm amazed at how much the sequel has improved just from like what I've seen, especially improved upon from like their previous games. It sounds like this definitely has major game of the year potential. Honestly, it probably already is game of the year. They probably already decided, yeah, this is game of the year. But you know, we'll see of course down the road, you know. What was your favorite piece of news or confirmation that we have gotten, or that you may have missed from the recent outbreak of, you know, first impressions from people who played Marvel Spider-Man 2 early? Mine personally is definitely the loop-de-loop mechanic. I cannot wait to try that shit. That is going to go absolutely stupid. With that being said, I want to hear your opinion, so make sure to comment your thoughts down below so I can interact with you in the comments. Thank you for taking time out of your day to click on this video. If you're new to the channel, I try my best to cover Spider-Man related scoops, rumors, leaks, confirmations for Spider-Man media, and whatever else I happen to be interested in. So if any of that interests you, hit the subscribe button. We're on the road to 5,000 subscribers. If you want more of this type of content, leave a like on the video. Don't forget to check out my latest video on the left if you haven't already. I hope you have had a good day and that you enjoyed the video. Until next time.